Hey, what's up? Ryan here at Triathlon.com, and if you're watching this, you're going to learn about Chattanooga 70.3 and where you should be at in your training about 2 months out from race day. So if you're here for that information, stay, listen, learn, get all the information you need. If not, check out the other videos. We got plenty of other races, events, and other information out there. So with that, we're going to dig right into the video of what we're going to discuss this time. You can see in the background of the video here, we got IRONMAN 70.3 Chattanooga, May 18th. Notice they do have the full there, but it is September, so if you're doing the half, it's coming up in May 18th. The time of this recording this video, we're about 2 months out from race day. And I always get the questions of either from athletes or just in general, seeing in the posted in Facebook groups and chat forums and every place, what should my training be like? Or I'm doing this much and this much, and despite what popular opinion or the comedic actors in the Facebook group say, you should not be doing 4-hour rides and 8-hour runs and all this other stuff. So don't believe a word that they say. I am a USAT Level 1 certified coach and an Ironman U certified coach as well. So I've done this race once, and I've done the full 4 times. So I did this back in 2018, I believe. It was a great race, great day. Turned out really well for me personally. It's a great event. It's a downriver swim, especially since they changed the swim course a little bit. So now it's all downriver. It used to be a little bit up and then down, but if there was a strong current, it always caused a problem. So now it is completely downriver swim. It is a one-loop bike course, and then you're running around downtown Chattanooga. A little bit challenging on the run course. The bike course is challenging. It's rolling hills, but it's not insurmountable. It's definitely not you're not going out there and climbing mountainous terrain or anything like that. It's rolling hills, I like to say, and there are some sections definitely you can really cook on, and really once you've done your hills and kind of gone uphill as far as elevation, come back down, you can really turn the gas on. So there's plenty of opportunities out there to have a good day on the bike. And then you want to make sure that you prepared yourself well for the run, because the run will be challenging, and you want everything you can, because not only is the run challenging, but if it is anything like Chattanooga, Tennessee is in the spring, in the summer, and in the fall, it can get hot, it can get humid, especially later in the day, in the morning, in the afternoon. So if you're going to be one of those tail end kind of finishers, just be prepared. It could be hot and steamy come the end of the race. So if you did not prepare your swim and your bike properly, you might pay for it on the run course. So we're going to jump right into one of my training plans that I've made. Got this in Training Peaks. I do Training Peaks Tri-Dot. I do coach one-on-one athletes. I do monthly plan for athletes. This is kind of the basis for my information of where I think people should be at, and then I kind of tailor that to the individual athletes if I've got them on plans or anything. But this is just a standalone plan on Training Peaks that I've made and put in there. So if you need a plan still, hopefully 2 months out, you already have your plan and you're already kind of training up to it. But if you don't have a plan, this is a great place to start, because it's not lost, it's not too late. You're going to have to put in some work to maybe catch up, but it is possible to get the work done to be able to get there on race day and be able to finish the race and not be totally used and abused by the end. But I'd highly recommend that you make sure you have a plan. So at this point in time, so this is my intermediate plan. So I have a beginner plan and advanced plan. So advanced would be a little bit more, intermediate be a little bit, or beginner would be a little bit backed off. Maybe it's not as much intensity, not as much volume. So intermediate, like, is kind of right in the middle, right in that sweet spot. Not too much, not too little, not too hot, not too cold. So if you're Goldilocks, this could be the plan for you. So right now, we're about, like I said, this is a 20-week plan. So you're about 8 weeks out from race day. So you're about the 12, 13-week plan period. What we've got going on at this point in time is a pretty solid build going into a transition week and your one last build before your race prep and your taper phases that you've got going on for race specific plan. So week 12, if you kind of look, man, you should be out there kind of hitting it right now. You got 50-mile rides on the weekend and a 10 to 11-mile run on the weekend. That's going to be your kind of what you're looking at as far as the long rides and runs. I do have, like I said, the bike course is pretty challenging. So I've got some strong biking on here. So you're going to see some distance as far as those long rides go, 50 miles. I don't know if the intermediate gets up to a 65-mile ride. So I just want you guys to be prepared, because that bike course is challenging, but you train appropriately, you should be able to tackle it and actually have an advantage when you go out there and do the race. So then put you in a good spot to go tackle those hills on the run. Now, you're not doing Barton on the run course like you would in the full, but there's still some hills out there, still some opportunities. Make sure you got some strong legs on you when you hit that run course. So that's why this is going to be a little bit heavy on the biking, especially the long ride. So I've got you at 50 miles. I got like a 3 hours, I got 245, and then I got a 10-mile run, 11-mile run, working some aerobic zones, working some fartlek, working some zone 4, especially the intermediate. We're working different zones on those long runs. Kind of break it up and make it not as tedious and boring just going out and doing 10 miles. But especially if you're an intermediate athlete, you're looking for a little bit more extra out of those long runs. So on race day, you're prepared so you can utilize your fitness as best as possible on race day. So make sure that you're in there, you're getting your workouts as best you can. Notice intermediate plans and beginner have a little bit in there. Advanced has a lot. Excuse me. I do have strength conditioning in here. Now you got some dry land work, you got some upper body work. Excuse me. When we got some functional strength stuff going on. So I'm a big proponent for doing strength training in your plan, doing it appropriately. Towards the beginning of your plans, you're going to see more functional strength, and as you move on into your plan to getting race specific, you might see some mobility, some flexibility, that type of thing. I love me some Pilates reformer and that type of work, getting closer and closer to race day. Getting that functional strength in, getting that flexibility and mobility, making sure that you're focusing on not just a straight line swim, bike, and run, but you're working on other muscle groups so you don't end up injuring yourself and you set yourself up for the long run, especially when you do this long period of time. So do have some strength in there. Do have some race pace efforts for the intermediate athletes. We got some race pace efforts. Let's see if we get into some threshold stuff. Intermediate, sometimes we'll get into threshold and sometimes not. Earlier on in your workouts, you will experience strength specific running, so you might do some hill work and stuff earlier in the plan. Like I said, once you get closer to race day, you're more race specific. We're working those tempo thresholds, so you've done the kind of the strength work up front. So when you're getting to this point in the plan, we're really working on getting you ready to stretch that endurance and that aerobic over longer stretches of time. So we're working goal pace stuff. We're working some nice aerobic 8 miles here for kind of a intermediate run during the week. We've got cruise intervals, that's my power intervals. So you're hitting that power, that threshold, and a little bit above for 6 times 5 minutes. So that's a pretty good little workout. So again, if you're kind of, just kind of moving along and you need a plan, don't just jump right into like a 6x5. You might need to kind of tailor that to where you're at. So if you have any questions, you can always email me if you get one of my plans. But notice I do have the swim is not as crucial and critical for the Chattanooga swim because you are going downriver. But I do have for intermediate athletes, we do got some distance in there. So 3,500 meter workouts, 3,000, 4,000. So we're getting you some time in the pool, especially intermediate. You're probably looking for a little bit more volume, a little bit more intensity. It's not just throwing more volume and more workload at you, but it's being very strategic in how I go about and set that up for you, so you make sure that you're capitalizing on your workouts as much as possible. I want you to get out there, get as much as you can, not just throwing in extra work to give you extra time, but if you've got that time and you want to invest it in becoming more fit for your races, this plan is for you. For an intermediate athlete, maybe you've done 70.3 for a few years, want to get faster at it or something like that, this is definitely a plan for you. So again, if you're a beginner, you might see just more kind of aerobic work and volume-based work. I will throw some tempo stuff in there. You will have some strength in there. You will have some power on the bike. But whereas you see maybe a cruise interval, some power work, and then some speed work, you might have one of these just be an aerobic ride for an hour and 10 minutes or an hour or something like that. So just be aware the plans are different for every kind of fitness group. So this, like I said, I know I've talked kind of fast, but I just kind of want to go over. This is where you kind of should see yourself being at. Especially intermediate athletes, you're looking at about 15-hour a week. Beginners are probably going to be about 12 to 13. Advanced, you might be a little bit more, but my advanced athletes is more intensity, not necessarily more volume and time. So if you look, bike distance, you're about 88 miles. 88 miles, it kind of worked out conveniently that they're the same mileage. Swim distance, 10,000 yards, 9,000 meters, yards. You can use them for either type of workout if you got a meter pool or yard pool. Run distance, you're looking at about 31 miles, 33 miles. That's where you should be at for kind of weekly totals. So that gives you an idea of where you should be at, where your time should be spent. You know, are you looking at volume, or looking at intensity, that type of thing. Again, I'm looking about like a 45, 50 mile ride on the weekends for your long ride, maybe a little bit of brick work. And then you're looking about a 10 to 11 mile run. And this is kind of the second to last big build for the race for 70.3 Chattanooga. Have a little transition week where you're doing a little bit less intensity to let that recovery kind of settle in. And then we do one more kind of build phase where we've got 2 weeks of strong build, and then you go to a transition and you go to race prep work. So we're no longer taxing the systems as much when we go into race prep. We're letting a little bit of recovery, but we're also trying to not let as much fitness slip by as much as possible, so we get the race day as fit as possible and as recovered as possible. So again, went through that kind of fast. Hopefully this helps you out. If you got any questions, put them in the comments. I post this on Facebook, YouTube, put it everywhere. So if you see it on Twitter, you want to message me, you have a question about that, get it back to me. I'll always look at my comments and try to get back to you as much as possible. If you got one of my plans, you have any questions, feel free to email me. Email is attached to the plans. It's info@setthepacetriathlon.com. If you got more questions, you want to know more about me, setthepacetriathlon.com. Hopefully that helps you out. Hopefully that gets you ready for 70.3 Chattanooga. It's a great race. I love that venue, love that event. Wish I could go there more often, but unfortunately it's like a 13, 14-hour drive for me, so I don't make it out as much as I'd like to, but it is a great race, great event. Hopefully you guys have a good day out there. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. I'll see you in the next video. Happy training out there. We'll see you at the finish line.